The woman on the last bus. The night was unusually cold for late autumn, and the girl named Alina pressed her forehead to the bus window, watching the blurry city lights glide past. She had stayed late at work again, and now she was heading home on the last bus of the evening, a nearly empty, dimly lit vehicle that groaned at every turn as if exhausted from a long day. Only 3 passengers sat scattered throughout the bus. A man in a hoodie asleep near the middle, an elderly lady near the front, and Alina herself. The driver didn't speak, didn't play music, didn't even glance in the mirror. The whole atmosphere felt mute, like the world was holding its breath. Alina tried to shake off the uneasiness. She leaned back, closed her eyes. The bus stopped. She didn't hear anyone get on, but she felt it. A shift in the air, cold, heavy, and wrong. Footsteps approached from behind her. Slow, barely audible on the rubber floor. Alina opened her eyes. A strange old woman stood there, hunched, with tangled gray hair cascading over her shoulders. Her skin looked stretched, too pale, almost waxy. She smelled faintly of damp soil. The woman didn't sit beside her. Instead, she sat directly behind Alina. Alina kept her eyes forward, heart hammering. Something about the woman's presence felt hostile, predatory. She told herself not to look back. But suddenly, a sharp tug. Pain exploded on her scalp. The old woman had yanked a chunk of Alina's hair out. Violently, wordlessly. Alina gasped and spun around. But the seat behind her was empty. No woman, no footsteps, no sound. Just a cold draft lingering where the old woman had sat. "Did you see?" she started to ask the driver, but he stared lifelessly ahead, as though he hadn't even noticed she existed. Alina sat down, fingers trembling as she touched the back of her head. There was a bald spot, raw, stinging. She rode the rest of the way home in silence. Her apartment felt normal at first. Warm, familiar, safe. She showered, changed clothes, tried to calm down. But when she passed her bedroom mirror, she froze. Her reflection wasn't moving correctly. She lifted her hand. Her reflection moved, but delayed a split second too late. Then it smiled. Alina dropped the hairbrush and stepped back, breath trembling. The smile in the mirror widened, stretching unnaturally, tearing the cheeks, revealing teeth that were dark and rotten. The lights flickered. The mirror's surface rippled like disturbed water, and amidst the distortion, she saw the old woman. Her empty eyes watched from behind the reflection, clutching tightly at a handful of Alina's hair. Alina stumbled backward and fled the room. For the next 3 nights, Alina barely slept. Objects moved on their own. Cabinets swung open. Lights turned off no matter how many times she switched them on. Worst of all were the footsteps. Every night, at precisely 3:11 a.m., slow footsteps walked the hallway right outside her door. Shuffling, dragging. Sometimes they stopped directly in front of her room. Sometimes she heard breathing, the wet, raspy breathing of someone standing there, inches from the door. But when she opened it, the hallway was empty. Then, one morning, she woke to clumps of her hair scattered around her bed. Long strands stretched across the pillow, tangled around her wrists and neck as if someone had wrapped them there during the night. She screamed, but the apartment only echoed with silence. Alina went to doctors. They found nothing wrong. She went to the police. They didn't believe her. Even her friends avoided her. Her eyes were sunken, her voice shaky, her hands constantly trembling. She spoke of footsteps in the night, mirrors that smiled back, and a woman on a bus who vanished in a thin air. Soon, she stopped speaking altogether. Her neighbors began hearing screams through her walls, terrified, animalistic shrieks in the late hours. When they knocked, she either didn't answer or begged them not to leave her alone. At work, she broke down when she saw her reflection in a glass door, claiming the old woman was inside the mirror trying to crawl out. Eventually, she was found wandering outside her building barefoot, hysterically ripping out her own hair, shouting, "She wants it back. She wants more. She won't stop until I'm bald. She won't stop until I'm gone." That was when her family admitted her to a psychiatric hospital. The first night, Alina sat in her room whispering to herself, eyes locked on the small metal-framed mirror across from the bed. The nurses checked on her every hour. At 3:11 a.m., they heard her screaming. When they burst into the room, Alina was on the floor, crawling backward toward the corner, shrieking and covering her scalp as if someone were pulling at her hair. The mirror trembled on the wall, shaking violently before it shattered, scattering shards across the floor. Alina fell silent. She was found unconscious, bald patches all over her head, scratches running down her neck as if clawed by skeletal fingers. When she woke, she whispered one thing. "She's with me now. She followed me from the bus." The doctors asked who. Alina pointed at the corner of the room. Her. But the room was empty, at least to them.